up, Fabs and Besties? Bella has gone back to school, and this year it's digital. That's right, first semester of her sophomore year is at home. So we are going to make her back to school setup in miniature. Time for Back to School Supplies 2020 edition. And we've got new printables. With a computer, a new cell phone with a Zoom-inspired app, a calculator. Wait, where did my numbers go? Okay, that's better. We have 2 folders, 2 binders, composition books, a notepad, a weekly planner, of course, notebook paper, and a new book. But before we get started on those printables, we need a small shelf. Bella has a small cube shelf, so that's what we're going to make. I'm using foam board. You can find this at Target, Walmart, and most craft stores. This is a small scrap left over from a previous project. I've got my cutting mat. I'm using a ruler and an X-Acto knife to cut the foam into 2-inch strips. I cut 2 rectangles that are 4 3/8 of an inch and 3 2 by 2 inch squares. Glue the squares onto one of the rectangles. I started by gluing them on the ends, then I used my ruler to find the middle point. This is 4 inches, so at 2 inches, I glued the one in the center. Glue the last rectangle on top to make a very simple cube shelf, just like the one we bought at Target. This is what Bella is using for a desk. She has an actual desk in her room, but she prefers this because it gives her more room to spread out. Now we are going to cut out the folders from the printable. I'm going to trim off the top corners on both sides, make a small cut near the bottom on the side, on both sides, fold on the lines, flip it over. I'm going to apply glue to the sides. I need a new glue stick. Now I'm just going to apply the glue to the sides. This one right here, then this one over here. I like good coverage, so this should be taking my time, but I'm trying to move fast at the same time. And then we're going to do it across the top and fold that over. Now we're going to add glue to just this little blue tab right here, and then fold it up and glue it onto the back. Repeat on the other side to make pockets and finish the folder. We have 2 folders with kind of a watercolor design. I'm going to place those on the shelf. Cut out the binders, trim the corners just like before, make a small cut on the line near the bottom. I measure the center. It's 3 1/4 inches by 1 3/4. Take a white index card and cut it to those measurements. Take the printable and fold on the lines. Glue the cardstock onto the back. Fold over the tabs and glue them down. Fold the spine. Take foil scrapbook paper, 3 jump rings. Take the paper printable, cut out one of the pages, fold it in half. Use glue to glue the 2 sides together, giving us a double-sided page. I use a small hole punch to put holes down the sides. Place the jump rings through the holes. Cut the foil paper to the length of the binder. Run the foil paper through the jump rings. Glue the scrapbook paper into the binder to finish the binder. I like to add at least 2 pages of paper to my binders so that when it's open, we have paper on both sides. Repeat to make 2, then place them on the shelf. Cut out the cover of the composition books. Cut index cards to 1 1/2 by 1 inch rectangles. Cut several. Stack and glue them together. This is 9 layers, and I wanted to make sure that it was the same width as the black line that's right in the center. Depending on your index card, the amount of layers may differ. Glue the cover onto the cards. Repeat to make 2. These do not open, but they do look pretty cool. Let's add those to the shelf. Cut out the brown pages. Cut a small piece of paperboard the same size. Stack them all together. Run a glue stick across the top edge. Press and hold until it dries to make a notepad with tear-off pages. Let's place it on top of the shelf. For the cell phone, calculator, and computer, we need black cardstock. Cut out each printable, glue them onto the cardstock. For the back of the computer, I'm going to separate the two pieces. Glue them down, cut them out, take the computer screen and fold it in half, then set it aside. Take all the other cutouts and glue them onto the cardstock again to build up a few layers. I added one extra layer to the cell phone, so each side has 2 layers of cardstock. Glue them together, add clear tape, trim off the excess. To finish the phone, I added about 5 layers to the calculator, and I'm going to bend the top up just a little for a little more dimension. Then place it on top of the shelving unit. I added 3 layers to each side of the back of the computer, then glue them onto the back of the screen and the keyboard to make a laptop that has been decorated with stickers. We're gonna place that right about here. I felt like we could use a magazine holder for our folders, so I added one to the printable, cut it out, glue it onto an index card, cut it out, make small cuts at the bottom lines. I cut small triangles, and I'm gonna trim the ends just a little. Fold on the lines. I don't think we really need this tab, so I'm going to trim it off. Now we can fold it over, tucking the smaller tabs onto the inside, glue down the larger tabs, and glue this piece over the side to make a little magazine holder with a label. We can place the folders inside to help keep everything neat. Cut out the printables next to the magazine holder, glue the watercolor print onto an index card, cut it out, flip it over, glue the other printable onto the back, cut it out, cut the space between the bottom tabs. To get a little space between them, fold on the lines, fold in all of the tabs, and glue it together to make a small container to hold pencils from our 7 Quick Crafts video. We'll place our little pencil cup right here. I take the small succulent from our 14 Quick Crafts video. I'm going to repaint the bottom to look like terracotta. Add a little school glue and sand for a little extra detail. And that just gives us a little pop of green. Now we need some books. We have a planner and a book with real words. They are tiny, but if you print on the best quality, you should be able to read them. There's even a dedication. I use the same template for both of these books. One just has more pages than the other, so the instruction will be pretty much the same. I start by cutting out the pages, leaving the pages connected, fold them accordion style, take the last page from the first row and the first page from the second row, and we're going to glue them together, back to back. Connecting them together. Turn it over, place glue on the back to glue the pages together so they're double-sided. Cut out the rest of the printables, glue the templates onto note cards, cut them out. The thinner one for the spine, I made it a little too long, so I have to put it up next to one of the sides and trim off the excess. And I glue them with the words facing down so they don't show through on my book. Take the cover and fold on the lines. Glue the index cards between the creases. I want just a little bit of space between them so it has no problem folding. Fold over and glue down the tabs. When looking at the pages, there should be 2 single pages on the end. We made them colored this time. Glue them into the cover, close it, and pinch it near the spine to make a book. I like to make 2, one that stays closed and another one that we can open. I place the closed one on the shelf and the open one on the floor. Use the same instructions to make the weekly planner. If you find that your pages are a little long, I just trim them. Since they're glued back to back, you don't have to worry about any pages falling out. Put the planner on the shelf, place the whole thing on the side of the doll bed, take felt, cut out a circle, cut a fuzzy fabric to glue on top. Actually, I flipped it over and I'm just gonna glue it going around the edge, giving it a nice finish. Then flip it over to make a plush circle rug. Cut smaller circles out of the leftover felt, stack and glue them together, avoiding the center. I used hot glue and I'm pretty generous because I want this to be kind of stiff. I have 3 layers. Wrap it with pillow fluff. Take a button where the hole is underneath. Glue a small piece of felt right on top. Trim off the excess. Take a small piece of fabric, place it on top, wrap it around the edge, and glue it underneath. To make a covered button, cut a large circle of fabric, place the fluff and the felt in the center. Use a needle and thread to sew a very loose line around the edges of the fabric. Just take your time and do small stitches. When I get back to where I started, pull the thread, making sure to hold one end together, tie and knot it so it stays. Sew on the button by taking the needle through the center a couple of times to secure it and make a small cushion. Place it on the rug. It's supposed to look kind of like an egg, kinda, but now she has a comfy place to sit while attending virtual classes. I want to see this in a doll room. We can clear out an old doll room. Everything must go. Aw, so sorry. Now we have white walls and a popsicle stick floor. I want to add a window to this wall, so I took a picture of a window in my house. Then I cut it out. I cut out 2. And I'm going to overlap them slightly, which means I have to trim this little piece right here so I can glue them together to make a double window. Glue it onto the wall to make a room with a view of shutters. Place the bed in the corner under the window. Let's bring back in a few of our BT21 pillows. Place the cube shelf next to the bed. Add the rug, which is a little too large for this room, but that's okay. It just gives me an excuse to extend it later. Add the floor pillow and an open book to finish the look. Completing our 2020 back to school setup, where you can literally roll out of bed and attend virtual class. Thank you for joining us while we got our dolls ready to go back to school in 2020. All of our printables will be available on our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at myfroggystuff and the frog vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!